Hey guys, we are going today to make a scarecrow that we've needed for Jack vs. Lanterns for quite some time. It's for one of the first scenes in the movie, one of the ones I'm shooting last. This stick here will be his body. As you can see, it's about as tall as I am. We'll put arms across it, and then we'll leave this on here for his head. I'm going to sharpen it down there with my trusty little hatchet. So, we're going to probably time-lapse that. We'll be back in a few minutes as we start to assemble his arms and stuff. Okay, you might have been able to tell from that other footage that this is a pretty soft wood. I'm guessing now that it fell from one of my pine trees. I thought it had fallen from whatever this is. So this came off pretty easily. I'll probably, if I need to sharpen it anymore, I could just use one of my knives. If you don't know how to use a hatchet, please don't. Get somebody who knows how to do it so you don't injure yourself. But basically, I just wanted to wedge it enough here to get it into the soft ground and then, you know, up high enough to stand. So now we're going to go in search of a stick about this same length and width to act as a cross arm to make our teeth. We'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, so this right here is going to be a forest in a scene in a movie we're shooting called Wary Tales. So all this is going to come down right after we shoot that scene. And remember we were discussing in another video earlier on that you need to have a partner in life or a spouse or nobody in order to get some of these things done, because you need someone who's going to let your yard get like this for a couple of weeks so that you can have a giant tromp through all of these fake trees and stuff and put up with that while they wait for you to get your shots done, and stand behind the camera while you talk about how you let it happen. So that's why all this looks like this, and this is my trusty wood pile. This is actually waiting to become a path in the road. I think we might strike gold on the first, second, or third try here. This has got some curves in it. We could always cut those down. It's a little thinner than the other one, but we want it to actually be able to sit across the other one without being so heavy that it topples it over. So this might work. And if it doesn't, I think our next choice is this one, which obviously is way too long, but you know, we have our trusty hatchet, so we can cut it down to size. So, as soon as we get to the point where we're strapping these together and making our T-shape, I will be back. Alright guys, so there's this flat tip on the axe right here. A lot of people think this is so you can also use it, or the hatchet, so you can also use it as a hammer. It's actually not. It's so you can use it as a wedge. You put this against a piece of wood to split it and you hammer on there. You never want to use this as a hammer, because what will happen is you strike whatever you're striking and if it bounces back, the blade is coming right for your head. So don't do that. Don't ever do that. I don't feel like going to get my hammer. I'm going to do that. But look, it's way over my head. Also, whenever you use a tool the wrong way, make sure your wife is watching you do it. I'm going to go need to get the proper tool, because this is not one to hammer into the ground. Well, actually, I was able to hammer it in all the way. It's not in as deep as I'd like, but this isn't actually where we're shooting. This is just here to give it a way to stand and put the cross arm on. So when we're actually putting it in the ground, we'll probably twist it and use the actual hammer. The only thing we got to be careful with is, since there's all these curves in it, and it is this long, if we hit it too hard up here, it will crack it in half, and then we will lose our dummy stand and have to, you know, make another one. The other option, guys, is to, if you're going to cover it with clothes, make this all out of PVC, like the dummy video we showed you the other day. The pipe will go into the ground nice and easy. You can use 2 pipes if you want and spread it out at the bottom. You can put it on the wooden stand that we're making. Any of that stuff. This is just, I want it to look rustic. I want it to look just slammed out there. We're just going to drape some burlap over it so you'll be able to see this just wood underneath. And I had this huge pile of wood laying around in the yard, and I just really wanted to get to use it for something. So there you go. So I'm going to strap the arms on. I'll show you how I did that after I've done it, because I want to make sure it works before I show you how to do it. We'll be back in a minute. Bye-bye. Alright guys, so all I did here was I used some string. Twine would have been better. Baling wire would be perfect, and I probably will reinforce it with that before we actually film. But as you can see, the string is holding it together. I'll step aside. It's standing up, arms out. We are going to add a little bit more weight to it, and it is wobbly, and we are going to have a character who's drunk kind of stumbling around it, so we want to make sure it's in the ground a bit more solid than this one we do later. What we'll probably do is use the point that we made to stick it in the ground and then dump some dirt around it. But in the meantime, his little bit of wobbliness, we can keep him standing, we'll give him a creepy aura of life, even though he's an inanimate object. We're going to go inside now and make the head. And I think some of you think the head's kind of, oh, that's boring. And some of you find it really, really creepy. And that's what we're going for, is that kind of cross between funny and creepy. Because remember, this is a sci-fi horror comedy. It's not, you know. If you've seen the pumpkins we're making, you know you cannot take this seriously 100% of the time. You will be disappointed. There's a plane going over, so I'm going to cut here, and we'll see you back inside. Alright guys, so what I've got here are some of my favorite materials. Brown paper bag, a bunch of rolled up newspaper, some duct tape, somewhere in here is a paper towel tube, and a Sharpie marker. My wife's pointing like that from behind the camera. There we go. I remember to split the back open because this is not big enough to go over our stick out there, but it's basically just a guide. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to fill it first with the paper. This is to make sure that the bag stays bulky the whole time we're filming, and so that we can get a little bit of a head shape to it as we wrap it. This is definitely going to look handcrafted, childlike even. But remember, this is supposed to be a country, urban, handmade, thrown out in the field at gem better trees to scare away what we would only assume are mutant crows because it's gem better. Scarecrow. So, we fill it with the newspaper. I actually rolled it more than I needed to, which I did not expect. Press this down a little bit so we can give him a little bit of a nick. I decided, well, we decided together to leave a kind of flat Frankenstein-ish head. We're going to take this paper towel tube and put it into our rolled up newspaper there to give us a kind of center. Close this up around. So that we can make a neck. Yeah, it's going to work really well. My wife found me a bag with no store logos on it anywhere, which is great. If you wind up with store logos, cover them with the duct tape to draw your face on. I'm trying to use as little duct tape as possible because see, the beauty of this is right now it's paper, inside of paper, with a little bit of cardboard, which means our recycling, once I pull this piece of tape off, we can just throw it right in our recycling bin and it'll get recycled and waste not, want not. And we will actually use this, I'm guessing, excuse me, as a Halloween decoration this year, since we're getting closer to that than I thought we'd be when we finish the movie. So, wrap this pretty tightly to give us that neck at the bottom. We do want this to have some semblance of balance because when it sits on that stick, if it's too heavy one way or the other, it's going to pull it right out of the ground. And we may need to then pull this out to have something to slip the stick up. I think we'll be able to get the stick up in there. We'll find out later. And then we take our Sharpie, we take our cleaner edge, and we draw our creepy face. Now, we just watched a movie, Miss Peregrine's House for Peculiar Children. And in that, there were twins who wore hoods. And they had very, very plain faces. And if you're like me, the less expression there is on a face, the spookier you find it. Because, you know, like a shark with the dead eyes. The mummy with the sewn shut eyes just kind of staring. That silent stare that you can't tell what they're thinking is what gives you that bit of mystery to what is otherwise a very plain Jane stick figure face. So we're going to go with a little bit of slant to the eyes to give it that bit of alien evil look to it. And I'm going with the triangle candy corn shaped nose here. With this a little bit of a notch like a skull has. For that jack-o'-lantern suggestion, because this is again the opening of the movie. But by the end, jack-o'-lanterns are going to scare the poop out of you. And for the mouth, I just went with one straight line. And there he is, my creepy friend, with the flat top head. And we're going to go put him on the stick outside, drape some cloth over it, and see how he looks. Alright guys, so this is him pretty much finished. If the camera will tilt down and see his little legs there at the bottom. Like I said, we didn't get him in deep enough, so we put some bricks there to stabilize him. So there's an idea. Rocks will work, more dirt will work, anything like that. You can see his head, kind of creepy. These draped over aren't the outfit we originally had in mind, but with the costuming we wound up using for our monster later on that comes off of this guy, this is what works. And again, this is stuff from the yard and recyclables. A bit of duct tape and a bit of fabric that we're going to use for something else some other day. So there you go, a Scarecrow practically for free. We're definitely going to leave him out for Halloween, I think. We'll probably drive him further into the ground. And keep watching the Jack vs. Lanterns Facebook page for updates. And if you haven't seen it yet, watch Lumber vs. Jack on Amazon Prime. And keep an eye on the Hocus Focus Productions page and the Jack vs. Lanterns page and this very YouTube channel for news about a special on Amazon in October for all of the great scary movies from Hocus Focus Productions. We'll see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.